Globalization, mergers and acquisition, and IT modernization are all having a compounding effect on data growth across the organization. Production databases are growing very fast and are becoming difficult to manage. Purging data warehouses and application as well as decommissioning redundant or obsolete application is often difficult due to strict compliance requirements. All these are leading to reduced application performance, increased spending on infrastructure to support the growing production databases, which gets multiplied taking into account non-production copies, backups, mirrors, and copies for disaster recovery. Increased risk exposure to non-conformance to compliance and legal requirements. Informatica ILM-Data Archival solution has been tailor-made to help organizations solve the cascading problems of data growth and optimize the size and performance of production databases. The solution can be summed up in four integral components. First, smart partitioning or segmentation of production databases according to data usage. So the most frequently used data is kept in Tier 1 and the not so used data in the corresponding Tier 2 and Tier 3 segments. Resources can then be assigned to ensure optimal performance for the most valuable data. Data archival. Inactive or dormant data once discovered can be archived to databases or compressed file archives to reduce the production data size. Archived database can be accessed on demand. Retirement of legacy application by archiving the data to compressed file formats and reporting directly out of it using various BI tools. Maintaining compliance by providing centralized rules for data purging and an integrated data retention management capability. The typical overall solution flow for Informatica ILM data archival process can be seen here. We first discover the data that can be archived based on usage, volume, and other parameters using the ILM Performance Monitor interface. So for example, if you have 50 tables in your production database, we will be able to find out which out of the 50 tables should be targeted for archival. Once data is classified, smart partitioning is done in the production database for optimized performance. Next, the dormant or inactive data is archived out of the production database into another database or a compressed file called the Informatica Vault based on the business requirements. Finally, we create centralized data retention and purging policies to automatically manage data for all compliance needs. Let's go through the individual phases in brief. Informatica ILM provides a host of capabilities to accelerate the discovery and data classification process. We can understand the distribution of data volumes with inbuilt tools like Data Growth Dashboard, ILM Performance Monitor, and Data Warehouse Advisor. It gives useful information about where data is growing within the application, areas of performance bottlenecks in the databases, and inactive and dormant data. We can import the metadata using the Enterprise Data Manager and run profiling against the database tables to find important table relationships. This phase, in short, will help us understand the logical set of tables that need to be archived for better performance and increased reduction of production database size. Smart partitioning is a way of creating virtual databases within the Oracle database. So the production database is restructured based on the usage of the data. Active data is kept in the Tier 1 storage and inactive data is kept in the lower tier storage and can be compressed. All data remains in the production database. At an user level or process level, we can set policies in smart partitioning. This is managed by the performance access layer. So a business user may need data only for the first 2 quarters, and the performance access layer will directly jump into the respective segments of those 2 quarters to quickly deliver the required data. Another user, like the business analyst, will need data for all the 4 quarters, and the performance access layer will then fetch the entire dataset. We can create such dynamic access policies to optimize database performance. One differentiating factor about Informatica ILM is that the partitioning or archiving is done on the basis of entities. Entities are nothing but a logical set of tables that are related together at the database level to make a sensible data model. So in the current example, the business wanted to partition the order table based on the mode, that is if it is online or direct. At the data model level, order table is linked to the order item table. So when ILM does the partitioning of the order table, it not only segments the order table on the basis of mode but also segments the related order item table. This ensures that the integrity of the data is maintained. Informatica ILM has inbuilt entity models for some applications like Oracle eBusiness Suite and PeopleSoft to accelerate the archiving process. Now let's move to the data archival bit. Informatica ILM provides two kinds of archival process, one at the database level and one in the form of an optimized file archive called Informatica Vault. In cases where it's critical that the business users can potentially access the archive data through the original application interface and be able to, through the same reports, join the archive data to the production database, the database method will be the preferred option. Informatica automatically creates a seamless access layer through which the business users can view the entire data as if it was in a single application database. File method is used when storage saving is the most critical aspect of the project. We can archive the data in an archived file format. It is a highly compressed format with around 98% compression. It's immutable and cannot be altered or changed. The data will still be highly accessible using a portal that Informatica provides called the Data Discovery Portal or any reporting tool that supports standard SQL. The data can also be exported to Excel, CSV or XML file formats based on the requirements. The two archival processes defined earlier and the smart partitioning process are not mutually exclusive processes and are often used in conjunction. As seen here, an international pharmaceutical company uses data only for the last 5 years for its day-to-day business operations. This data is partitioned on the basis of time and kept in the production database. Data older than 5 years is sometimes or infrequently used for creating analytical intelligence and is hence automatically archived out of the high cost and high maintenance production database into a low cost archival database. Data older than 7 years has been discovered as dormant data and has to be kept to be in conformance to the various regulatory needs. This data is compressed and moved into the optimized file archive. All the necessary reporting on this data is done directly from the file archive, reducing production database costs but still ensuring high availability. This series of data flow from the production database into the archive database or the optimized file archive can be automated based on the applicable business requirements. So the archival jobs can be scheduled to run in predefined periods and data from the production database can be sent for archival automatically based on its conformance to business rules. Let's understand the archival process with a small example. We know using the data discovery tools that we earlier discussed that the transaction table is a potential candidate for archival and the data from 2001 to 2004 is dormant. We define the logical entity encompassing the transaction table and define the business rules on top of that. So we say that only inactive transactions from 2001 to 2004 need to be archived, keeping the active data in the production database. In the same way, we can define n number of business rules to filter the data that we actually want to archive. Once the data is finalized, the same is moved into a staging area in the production database. A quick validation on the data is done in the staging area to ensure that no data is lost. The same data is then purged from the production system. Following this, data from the staging environment is moved into the archive database or file. The staging area is then consequently dropped from the production database. One of the unique features of Informatica ILM-Data Archival is that for any data that has been archived, we can maintain the required compliance. Within Informatica Data Archival, we can set up as many retention policies as required based on the compliance needs. So we can define policies that a particular data, like the invoice data, is needed to be kept for 7 years and then auto-purged. We can also override default retention policies in the form of a legal hold. Let's take an example of a bank. According to its respective government policy, let's assume it's mandated to keep customer transaction data for the past 15 years. So we define a retention policy for the same. Now maybe due to a pending lawsuit, transaction data for a particular customer should not be deleted even if it dates past the default 15 years retention period. We can define row level legal hold for such instances which will override the default retention policies and not allow that data to be purged. The best part is all these policies can be defined and managed centrally through ILM, typically by a compliance manager, and then be applied on the archive data as required. So to sum it up, Informatica ILM data archiving is an application-aware method for relocating enterprise data out of production database. It's not like backup or disaster recovery or mirroring. It's a very specific purpose-built application that identifies the data that needs to be archived, archives it, keeps track of where it is, who has been accessing it, and when it's time for disposal for ultimate purging if it has been done in the proper time frame. Customers worldwide have leveraged the Informatica ILM solution, whether it is for improving performance, reducing maintenance windows and outages, or eliminating cost. Informatica customers typically achieve payback in a short time frame and usually save in the order of millions of dollars. Finally, we have listed some of the key points why customers choose Informatica Data Archival solution.